Hey everybody, Peter Parks here from DNAWealthBlueprint.com, and welcome to this module. We're going to be talking about a case study of how to direct link to a Clickbank product. I've been getting a lot of requests for this particular module, and it's not really that hard to direct link to Clickbank. Again, I've talked about this throughout the course. Facebook really, at the end of the day, they don't really they really don't care what you promote, it's how you do your promotions. So I'm going to show you what I do in this case study. Now, by all means, I'm not going to make any claims here that you're going to be able to do this. Matter of fact, it's just a case study of how I was able to accomplish this. And I also want you to say to yourself, there are a gazillion products on ClickBank, on JVZoo, on ClickSure, all types of products and services. You're just gonna have to go out and test. Believe me, I've tested quite a few ClickBank products. I don't get them all approved, so this is just one of those cases where I got a product approved, direct link. So I'm gonna just do the quick little case study and show you how it actually works. So just so we're in full transparency and full disclosure here, you can see that this is my fan page right there. You actually see my name up in the top right hand corner there, and you see what I'm doing. A good percentage of the people that are talking about my page actually like the page. So that's a good ratio right off the bat. Again, it's what you do with Facebook is going to determine whether or not they are going to let you actually market on their platform. So, if you can get 15, 1600 likes on your page, you can get a good 400 or 500 people talking about your page. That's a pretty good ratio. That's some pretty good engagement. And for those of you that are going to look at the page, you're going to see the page, you're going to say, well, where's all the engagement? Well, see, that's part of the little secret sauce that I'm going to also talk about today as well. You don't really need to build out a super huge fan page. That's not the whole entire point. The point is to get a little bit of engagement, to get some traction so you can run your ads and you can do some direct linking. So the things that you need to watch out for and you should include are you want to have an attention getting photo cover. This is really one of the big things that I learned over the time with Facebook, that if you don't have an engaging timeline cover, photo cover, it's not going to get shared. And that's kind of one of the things that you actually want to make sure that you have. And if you look at what I put on the page, when I put the page together, it's very psychological. I'm using a lot of elements from the actual vendor's product, but I put it all, well, my team put it all together, so it really makes sense when you look at it. It's nice, it's clean, it pops, and it tells you a little bit of a story. So you have to make sure that you put that in there. You also want to make sure that you have a good, attention getting or controversial headline that's almost too good to be true. So that you can see it right there, it's potty training for the masses. Well, again, that could be a little bit controversial, and is it almost too good to be true? And then you also want to have a strong call to action inside of your fan page, and and I did have a strong call to action inside of my fan page, but for some strange reason, and it happens, Facebook kind of looks at your fan page sometimes, and they actually remove it. And I can tell you exactly what it was. I just basically put my tracking link inside of my about description. So when people are actually looking and clicking on my about description, they're actually going to go over to the website and I'm tracking them as well. So let's get into how this case study evolved. So that's the fan page. You're going to see how I break out one of these ads. The ad itself, you can look at the metrics right there. You're going to see there that it's all website to clicks. You're going to see that my cost per website click is literally 10 cents. You're going to see the amount of clicks that I got. My click-through rate was astonishing, well over 6%. I mean, this ad just really, this campaign simply just just took off beyond my wildest dreams because of the elements that I'm going to show you, um, and what I'm working inside of the ad. And you're going to see what I've spent so far in this ad. And now I'm here to tell you that, really, if you look at this case study, you're going to see that it's really not it's not rocket science for you to do this. So, and I am running optimized cost per impression. So with this particular campaign right here, again, it's like I've always said, if you can if you can haul off good CPC, you can get clicks on your ad. There's a couple different strategies that you want to work with. First of all, if it's cost per click, that's a good way to start, because if people are clicking on your ad, that tells you that your ad is working. The ad copy is working. The ad is doing its job, which is to get the click. And if you find that you're starting to get lots of clicks, hundreds of clicks, thousands of clicks, then yes, you might want to switch to optimize cost per impression, because now it's going to be about leverage, and it's going to be about getting more push out into the marketplace for your particular target market on Facebook. So if you can do that, and you can maintain your other metrics, you would definitely want to switch to cost per impression, because overall, what's going to happen, depending on your niche market, depending on your ad quality score, there's a whole bunch of other factors going into it, but you may end up paying less for cost per impression, which is absolutely a beautiful thing to do. So you look at the stats there, you see what I've done. Let's go into the ad, and this will kind of tell you why this ad actually works. Now, I can't reveal all the targeting to you, because really I'm still running these particular campaigns, and this is just one set of campaigns that I'm running. So I'm just going to be honest with you right now that there is more information here for you to get going if you wanted to actually get going in this particular marketplace. If you didn't want to get going in this particular marketplace, no problem. Use this case study as a model it, go out into Clickbank, go out into ClickSure, go out into JVZoo, and look for products and services that you can promote. So again, there are like tons of niches out there. So you'll see why this ad popped the way it did. And this is right in people's news feeds. So you always want to be able to ask a question in your headline. Again, if you ask a question in your headline, you make a controversial statement in your headline, or you give an overwhelming benefit in your headline, those are the three most successful factors that are going to help you disrupt your prospect on Facebook. If you can understand that element for the headline, you're going to be okay. And then if you look at how I've structured my copy and my description inside of the news feed, you're going to see why this ad is almost too good to be true, and why it actually works so well, and why it got such a high click-through rate. Because if you're looking at my image and you're looking at the way I put everything together, you're going to see why the ad popped the way it did. And also, if you're looking at my potential targeting, you're going to understand the way Facebook is coming out with their targeting now. You don't need to do custom, you don't need to scrape anymore. I never scraped. I was never an advocate for scraping or using tools. I did buy a couple of these tools, scraping tools, but I never used them, because if you understand how to target like a ninja, which is what you're learning in these modules, you're going to understand that from this point forward, you don't really need these tools anymore. Facebook is giving you Facebook is giving you such great ways to target, that is just they're literally handing it to you on a silver platter. They're basically saying, go make money with our platform, stick within our boundaries, abide by our TOS. We're going to give you such fantastic targeting for you to take advantage of our platform in a good way, that you'd be an absolute complete idiot to start to try to game the system. So I'm here today to tell you straight up, you don't need to scrape. You don't need to use any of those tools. Here it is right here in a nutshell. You've seen it live, how it actually works. So um, if you're looking to figure out, well, how do I get these products, or where do I find these products from? Well, You always want to find a good converting product on Clickbank by using the tools that Clickbank offers. There's a whole bunch of products out there for Clickbank. One of them that I use is cb-analytics.com, and there are quite a few other ones out there, cbgraph.com, CB Engine. There's a few of them out there that will help you look for really good products. Now, I always want to make sure that I'm looking for products that have recurring billing, rebills, because, I'm a pretty lazy guy, but I understand that I need to be able to leverage what I know. And that is basically, you want to promote something once, but you want to get paid for it a couple different times. Now, a lot of these products, they can be extended to 3 to 4 to 5 months payment, which is great. On average, you're looking around 3.2 months, but that's even if you start to do volume, that can quickly add up. So with cbanalytics.com, you see here with the red arrow, I look for reoccurring type products, rebill type products. And I want to actually get into this market here because this was just, like I said, a case study. So you see how I go to do my research. When you go to do your research, the things you want to look for is you want to be able to promote anything on Clickbank and make sure you're getting a bare minimum of anywhere from $25 to $30 per sale. So you really want to be able to really hone in on your ad spend and your ROI if you know what your commissions are going to be out of the gate. Because what happens now is you can really start to develop a viable funnel and a campaign just on a shoestring budget because you're doing tight targeting. So you want to make sure that you're looking for really good payouts to begin with, and you want to make sure that you got some good rebills. So again, the good commissions and the good rebills are part of leveraging your profits. So are you always, like I said, want to try to find the rebill programs. Now, with it looking at number 3 here, so you see that I have the 4 circles for 1, 2, 3, 4. The third thing you want to look at is how are the vendors treating their affiliates. So when you see stuff like this, if you're just starting out, you're an affiliate or you're an intermediate affiliate, and you can see that the vendor is offering up bonuses all the time to motivate you to make sales. They want to make sure that they take care of you as the affiliate, and they want to build your confidence. So this is kind of something that you also want to look at as well. You want to make sure, is there a vested interest in the vendor to help you as the affiliate push sales for them and to make them more money? Because when the vendor makes more money, you can go back to the vendor and you can make more money as well. Now, the fourth thing you want to look at is, do these vendors have tools? I know some of this may be a little bit explanatory, self-explanatory, but again, for the most part, people don't kind of look at these things. The tools are very important as an affiliate, and you got to make sure you have plenty of the right tools. So this is what's going to separate the people that are doing 4 figures, 5 figures, from the people that are doing 6 figures and high 6 figures on Clickbank, promoting Clickbank products on Facebook. You can have all the tools in the world, but if you don't have the right tools and you don't have plenty of the right tools, you're pretty much dead in the water. So you always want to ask the advertiser, the vendor, if the tools have been tested. But more importantly, you want to make sure that the tools have been optimized to convert. That is the absolute key when you're doing promoting products on Clickbank, because quite a bit of vendors, they don't really look at optimizing their tools. So you want to make sure that you are optimized. You want to make sure that the tools are optimized so that you can really start to hit the product properly. Okay, because you want to be able to take those creatives, and you want to be able to beat those creatives, and you want to be making money at the same time while you're testing. So it's very important that you understand that when you're looking at vendors to promote on Clickbank, JVZoo, ClickSure, and you're doing direct linking, you want to make sure that the tools are all optimized. All the creatives are optimized. You talk to the advertiser, you sent an email, you tried to find their phone number, you called them, you said, you asked them a couple of questions. What's converting? How is it converting? What's converting best? That's what you want to do. Okay. So when you look at their tools, you can see this particular vendor, they've got their game face on. They know that they want to get good affiliates, so they make sure they have good tools for you, and this is going to help you make money. when you're looking at everything, you're looking at the more content that the vendor, advertiser, this is for CPA marketing as well. The more content that the advertiser, the vendor can give you, the better that you can pre-frame and pre-sell your leads and warm them up in the funnel and get them to buy. Now, again, this is direct linking, this case study, so I wanted to show you what is down the pipeline, because what I'm still doing right now is I haven't even optimized this campaign yet, and before I can scale, I need to optimize. So I'm still in the stages of being what you consider a lazy affiliate, direct linking, making a whole bunch of money every day off of this particular funnel. And I'm going to be getting prepared with my team to look at different ways of how we're going to actually build out our funnels, so how we're going to make more money. So that's kind of one of the things you want to do, right? So when they show you what their product converts at, so that you can, that's a really good thing. If you look at the upper left-hand corner there, it's going to show you conversion numbers on cold traffic, on traffic, when their highlights are. You really got to look at that kind of stuff. And you have to say to yourself, this vendor is really going out there to help you as an affiliate. They've also got little stuff to give you, like little incentives like Starbucks. But when they show you that the product converts, this will quickly let you know, if I start to split test this product, if I start to test it, I can quickly find out whether or not these metrics are actually adding up. So sometimes you have to take a leap of faith and you have to kind of believe the vendor. 9 times out of 10, you want to take the extra step and you want to talk to the vendor or want to talk to the sales staff. You want to get some metrics. You want to find out exactly what's going on with other affiliates as well. But this is something that you can quickly test. You can quickly split test it to see, is this viable or not? Is this how I want to make my money? And when they go the extra yards where they're letting you know about the market demographic, they've built out their avatar for you, and they're showing you what their buyer demographic could possibly be. This helps you out further as an affiliate, as a super affiliate, because now you can really streamline your Facebook campaigns. So in this particular case study, what I want to talk about is the ad itself. So with the ad that you've seen here, really, you never want to focus on click-through rate. Okay, click-through rate is a good metric, but it doesn't mean squat, because you could have a click-through rate of 2%, get hundreds of clicks, and make zero cash. You want to focus on the ROI in. So you want to focus on the ad spend in, then you want to track like a mad scientist what your ROI is on the back end. So if you're making more money than you're putting in, you're obviously in a good spot. Now, again, you want to be able to, before you even build out a landing page, you want to make sure you have commercial intent and commercial viability. Part of this case study was to make sure that there was commercial intent and there was commercial viability. So let me explain to you what the commercial intent is. Within this particular marketplace, as I've driven traffic and a lot of traffic to this particular to this particular product, are there people that are in here that are willing to whip out their credit card and pay? That's what commercial intent is. The second part of the puzzle is there commercial viability? What commercial viability means to me that if I move into this market as a super affiliate, can I see myself in this market branching out and developing my own product and continuing to build a sustainable, thriving business? If I can answer yes to a couple of those questions, that tells me that I have commercial viability within this marketplace, and I'm going to move into this marketplace after, as in a super affiliate, I'm going to now become a product owner, because it's really easy for me or for anybody to look at this particular funnel, look at it and reverse engineer everything, go out and private label write your own product or white label your own product and go into the marketplace because you already know what's working. So that's kind of what you want to do as well. The next thing you want to do is, once you've got to that point and you've built out a landing page, you want to be able to make sure that when you split test on your landing page, you want to split test your headlines first, you want to split test your images, you want to split test your body copy, you want to split test your link placement, and then you want to split test your call to actions. This is when you're building out a content rich product landing page if it dictates. Now, if you want to be a lazy affiliate and just keep direct linking, by all means, go ahead. But eventually, you might want to build out a funnel because you definitely do want to capture the leads. Because, like I said, if you have that commercial viability, you can see it in there. Why wouldn't you build out a content rich product landing page? Start to capture those leads, start to culture those leads, and then when you become a product owner in this particular marketplace, you now have a very viable database that you can start to produce or start to give your list other offers to. So make sure you keep that in the back of your mind because it's very important that you do that. So when it comes to the bidding strategy, as you can see here, you want to test with cost per click first. And if you see that the clicks are coming in and they're coming in heavy, then definitely you want to start building out another ad and looking at changing around to cost per impression. And then from there, what you want to do is you want to optimize that entire campaign. You want to scale it and you want to max out your daily spend. So what that basically means there is you want to make sure that you've got a good fair amount of clicks, you've got a good fair amount of data, you've spent some good money, you're making money, then you want to switch it up to cost per impression. Now again, in some different markets, cost optimized cost per impression, you may have days where you're actually spending more money, or you may have days where you're spending more on cost per click. So that's why you have your cost per click campaign and you have your optimized cost per impression campaign, and you monitor it and you look at it because sooner or later you're going to want to build out more campaigns and you want to switch either one way or another. So that's something that you want to really look at. And the next thing you want to do is you want to figure out, do you want a day part on this particular campaign? So if you've got everything working together, you might want to look at testing, and you can do this when you have tools like Quiega. You can do this in Power Editor. You can do this with your tracking. And when you're looking at your reporting features in Power Editor under Ad Tools, you're going to see where your conversions are happening. You're going to see the time of day where they're coming from. And when you're doing your own tracking as well, you're going to look at all the data and you're going to say to yourself, there's actually times where I don't want to run my ad 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I may just want to run my ads on these certain days here and these certain times because 80% of my conversions are coming from 20% of these peak periods of time or days. So why would you run your ad 24/7 when if you look at your reports and you're like a mad scientist like myself and you see the fact that, oh my God, like 80% of your conversions are coming from 20% of these peak times, that's when you want to run your campaigns. And that's when you should run your campaigns. So again, so if the bulk of your campaigns are coming, the bulk of your conversions and sales are coming from 8 p.m. to 1 p.m., then you know what? That's when you run your ads. The rest of the times you shut them off. So it wouldn't make sense for you to keep burning through that money like that. Also, as an example, if Thursday or Fridays you're making the bulk of your income, then you can do two different things. You can try to optimize your whole entire campaign so it's profitable on those days. But if the bulk of your sales are coming on those 2 days or those 3 days, then don't rock the boat. You might want to split test and try to get it up there, like I said. But if you're making that much money and that compressed time frame, then you want to keep running it. Okay? And then when your offers, definitely you want to be able to make sure that you have at least a half a dozen offers on the table that you're constantly testing and rotating because you can't just rely on one offer to knock it out of the park. The worst mistake that you can do in CPA marketing is focus on one product and one product alone and focus on that product for weeks. You need to be able to build up 5 to 7 to 10 different products that you're testing. You're direct linking, you're testing right away, so you want to understand what's almost starting to work, what's working pretty good, and then you want to focus that way as well. And then really what happens is when you've done that, you're starting to drive a whole bunch of volume. You're starting to get more money. You can always go back to the advertiser or the vendor. You can always say, look, I've driven a tremendous amount of traffic here for you. I made you a lot of money. Here's what I'd like to do. I want to continue to build a relationship with you. So here's what I'd like to ask you in return for what I'm doing for you. And if you structure the conversation that way, 9 times out of 10, the advertiser, the vendor, they're going to say, you know what? Yeah, they're going to make an exception and they're going to start to incentivize you more and give you a little bit more leeway to do a lot of different things. So the last thing that you want to look at when we're looking at this campaign is this is the steps that I'm telling you right now. This is what I'm going to be doing when I finish this case study. So when it comes to scaling, this is what I'm talking about. For me, it doesn't make a difference to make 50 bucks a day. So, I'm not here to make $50 a day. You know the level that I'm playing at. So I'm here to make big profits every day. Now, if you are just starting out and you're making $50 profits a day, that's pretty good. That's life-changing income for a lot of people. That pays the car payment, that pays some of the mortgage, that pays some of the insurance. So you need to be able to look at the level that you're at and scale accordingly from there. Now, another way to scale is you simply want to look at more traffic sources that are like top tier traffic sources, and direct buys, and you want to run on very specific mainstream type sites. So what that basically means is if you find a half a dozen websites that are strictly focused for mummies and newborns and toddlers, you want to go to each and every one of those websites and you want to talk to the website owner and you want to get a network of sites together where you can do your media buy from, because those sites are going to have an incredible amount of traffic running through their network and you want to be able to capitalize on that as well. And then you just simply go mainstream. Now you can also take your campaign and you can take it internationally so you can scale it internationally, because let's face it, with this particular case study here, this is a universal problem, which is potty training. So again, keep that in the back of your mind. Is your niche, is it a mass appeal type of product or service? Can you take your product or service from wherever you are and whatever point in the world you are and take it out globally? If you can do that, the possibilities for you to scale are literally endless. And then the next thing that you want to do is what I would do is what I'm going to do with my team is you want to build more ads, because you want to take the best headlines that you can have and wrap them up, the best headlines from your landing pages. You want to take those headlines from your landing pages that are converting, because your landing pages are all optimized, and your ads, and you want to go out there and you want to create more banners to run on bigger sites. So with that being said, this was the case study that I wanted you to check out, how to do a direct link to ClickBank with a product. A lot of people saying you can't direct link ClickBank products. Yes, you can. Again, it all boils down to it's not what you do on Facebook, it's how you do your promotions. So with that being said, my name is Peter Parks from DNAWealthBlueprint.com. I'll see you in the next module. Take care, everybody.